Hola, ¿cómo están? Gonza, Botquito por acá. Bueno, volvimos de nuevo. Ya estamos de vuelta. Ya Star Citizen sacó un insight la semana pasada. Hoy es martes. Me demoré un poco porque me mudé a Estados Unidos. Voy a estar acá 3 meses, así que estuve medio perdido por el tema de mudanza y esas cosas. Así que lo bueno es que tenemos nuevos horarios en Twitch, en stream. Todos los días a las 10 de la mañana de Estados Unidos, que son creo que 4 de la tarde España. Así que tenemos nuevo horario para la gente de España. Y después en Argentina creo que es 11 de la mañana, 11 y media. Y México anda por ahí también, creo que 9 de la mañana, 9, un horario nuevo. Así que les voy a dejar el link acá abajo de Twitch para que entren y me vean en vivo y pregunten lo que ustedes quieran. ¿Sí? También les dejo el Discord para que entre a la comunidad nuestra. Nada, les dejo todas las redes sociales acá abajo a continuación del video. Así que nada, estamos acá con Red. Hola Red, ¿cómo andás? Bienvenido.
Hola, hola, buenas. Un gusto, muchísimas gracias.
Tanto tiempo. Che, Red, la gente se pregunta, ¿cuándo viene el lore? ¿Cuándo viene el podcast? ¿Cuándo vuelve el podcast de Red Metal?
Pronto. Cuando he estado teniendo unos problemitas familiares y un poco ocupado estos últimos meses, diría yo.
Esta semanita podemos, ¿no? En el jueves.
Probablemente jueves, después del Inside o viernes.
Bueno, vamos a tener con Red, hacemos un podcast de 1 hora y Red investiga y nos trae información de la historia de atrás de Star Citizen. ¿Por qué Hurston se llama Hurston? ¿Por qué Lorville se llama Lorville? ¿Por qué Área 18? Igual recuerden que en el canal de YouTube acá ya hicimos ese podcast, así que vayan a verlo. Bueno, vamos a ver el insight, a ver qué nos trae esta semana.
Dale.
Vamos a escuchar ahí a ver qué nos dice Jared. Y nada, vamos a ir parando para ir viendo a ver mi opinión y la opinión de Red sobre el insight de esta semana.
In 2865, Hurston Dynamics purchased a planet in the Stanton system and began the process of looking for their capital, being careful not to build on the resource-intense areas they bought the planet for in the first place, because you gotta leave all that free for the mining after all. Now, during that search, they designated one particular area already filled with structures that house the on-world workers by the 3-letter designation LOR, an acronym for the rather dismissive title Local Occupational Residency. And after essentially requiring all of their workers to live there, because it makes it easier to keep an eye on everyone, the town eventually gathered an unofficial temporary nickname. And as anyone that's ever built something huge and complex can tell you, there are few things in life more permanent than an unofficial temporary nickname. Now, eventually, the Hurston family made this the center of all commerce and residence on the planet, and thus Lorville continued to grow and expand and be built upon. And in the upcoming Alpha 319, it's taking its next major step forward towards becoming the thriving, brutalist cityscape old Solomon Hurston would be proud of.
Ok. Ahí está el Solomon.
Well, how would I describe Lorville to somebody who's never seen it?
Lots of crazy stuff happened there. I don't know, man. It's very dusty. Definitely very dusty. Yeah.
I think
Hago una pausa. Ya que salió esto de Lorville, le voy a dejar en el link acá abajo porque con Red hablamos de esto de Lorville.
Se vio el video, Que se vio el video.
Sí,
Lore.
por eso. Lo voy a dejar acá porque con Red hablamos de Lorville, de la historia y qué es Lorville y por qué, que es lo que están hablando acá. Así que se los voy a dejar por acá en un link para que lo miren.
it would be something that's a very place that's very polluted. It would be a place that's very oppressive, but also pretty lively at the same time. People are working there day and night.
Lorville is essentially a mega city.
L'Oreal
It's
pone en vez de
strong,
Lorville.
it's
La
huge,
traducción abajo.
and it's on the Stanton 1 planet inside the Stanton system.
The story of Lorville, I know that it was built by a company, a family business.
It's ruled by the Hurston family, and it's a very authoritarian regime.
Place that's
Esa
very
estatua no
like
está ahora, ¿verdad?
expensive in the scale of it.
¿Qué cosa?
La estatua esa no está ahorita en
Sí,
este
está.
momento en el mapa.
Cuando vas a comprar las armas.
¿Pero es esa? ¿Es esa misma?
Sí, pero hay como que varias.
Es que hay varias, pero no sé si es esa misma.
Ah, esa misma en el medio, creo que no.
Stuff maybe. Also a little bit of a Tyrell Corporation from Blade Runner, something like that. That's what comes to my mind when I think of Lorville. Yeah.
Eso es ahora, creo.
Ujú.
So a landing zone like Lorville is a hub for the players. It has many services. There's the habs, the habitations, and from there, like, they can spawn. There's the hospitals. There's shops. There's missions.
There's obviously multiple areas and some new areas as well.
When you're arriving from your ship, the first thing you're gonna see is well, you're gonna see the CBD, of course.
Ve,
Central
esas son
Business
las...
District.
Esas.
Esas.
This is where the Hurston family oversees the city.
There's the spaceport that obviously has a lot of the transit line going to. You can also go to the L19 where there's obviously some residential.
Leading up from like the center, we have like those transit lines that are like going in different directions from the center of the city. And from there, there's many districts inside the inner city. In the inner city, we represent the different classes of the residents of Lorville. There's areas where there's more wealth. These are like higher up top, and they have like a gold
¿Eso está
cladding
ahora
on
que
their
está todo
buildings,
dorado o
and we
no?
have like lower areas
La torre,
that are
sí.
like
Pero tan
closer
dorado
to
como
the
está ahí.
industrial areas.
No
And it's
sé,
mainly
no recuerdo,
residential
pero
and
sí está
commercial.
doradísimo.
We have like
Negro y
lots
dorado,
of
básicamente.
opportunities for branding. The branding comes mainly from Nicolas Fartin's team. So we partnered with them, and they come up like with new brands. In turn, the environment art team helped to integrate those into billboards
Esa
and
marca no me suena,
holograms
Dario.
throughout the city.
Es un billboard nuevo, creo.
Ujú.
So the areas like the CBD, the L19 at the spaceport, you're all familiar with. These haven't changed. They just moved slightly because they were already up to a quality that still works today. And what we've worked on is the connecting tissue between those to make like the city feel actually the big size compared to what it was.
Okay.
Buildings are now much higher, but you're also gonna see how the city now extends further away, a little bit like tentacles, right? And it spreads out into those smaller islands. We call them islands. Those are the industrial islands. Let's say you start from the spaceport
Sí.
and you want to travel outside towards the industrial islands. First of all, they're much further away, but they're still connected. You know, they connected using pipelines from the city to the outskirts. And once you get to the industrial islands, you can see, you know, it's filled with chimneys, lots of activities happening
Creo
there.
que como que medio separaron lo que es toda la industria con la ciudad principal. Lo pusieron más alejado, me parece.
Pues es lo que están diciendo, que los distritos industriales están fuera.
Dijeron que este nuevo Lorville van a ser tipo una pista de carreras para que puedas competir ahí. Es decir, no es,
Alrededor,
no
¿no?
es una... No, adentro del Lorville, por entre medio. Como que no pusieron como que una pista de carreras, solamente que pusieron capaz un edificio que tiene un círculo y te puedes meter por ahí. Como que, ¿entendés? Como que es una pista de carrera, pero al mismo tiempo como que no. Para que no se vea mal, pero vos podés competir ahí. Así que habría que probarlo.
It really shows, you know, the might that is Hurston Dynamics and the Hurston family itself. Yeah, I think that's a good answer.
Esa es nueva, me parece, esa estatua.
Ujú.
So making Lorville
Sí, esa
was
es la que
not
yo
like a
decía.
straight
Todo
line.
eso no está.
There was many like challenges, and we didn't really have expectations of what we could achieve or not achieve. We just went with our feelings, what kind of city we wanted to build, basically.
You know, we tried to create a certain variety of colors inside the city, but overall it remains pretty gray. But at the same time, it's also pretty dusty. You know, it reflects the pollution, how industrial the city is.
And in the end, like, we're just like driving that point that it's like heavily polluted or authoritarian, and that it's in everything we do.
Por light map. Todas las dudas que tengan, que por qué hay tanta pollution, tanta industria y tanto todo, vayan a ver el video que hicimos con De Lore. Muy bueno, muy bueno.
Lighting is very important when you're coming to a location. When one of the last part that the artist will do, it really brings the life to all the previous work that the environmental artist did.
¿Ves? Ahí está lo que te digo, ¿eh? Este edificio tiene tipo un círculo en el medio, bueno, un círculo. Un rectángulo. Entonces creo que van...
Sí, como la que van a hacer en Arcorp también. No está ya, ¿verdad?
En Arcorp creo que todavía no. O hay uno o dos, creo.
Porque metieron unas pistas, unas carreras de naves, unos circuitos.
Ah, mira.
Pero no he visto si el de Arcorp está. Ya ves que lo habían anunciado, que volabas entre los edificios y cosas así.
Sí. Y bueno, y acá
Ya
también
metieron
iban a
las
hacer.
pistas, pero no sé si está ese.
It makes us look at places, and it just like enhances the contrasts, and we get like a whole better look through that lighting.
The lighting really, it brings in the whole atmosphere. And during the night, we want to bring that feeling of liveliness to the city.
Yeah, night is pretty badass with all the new buildings, the taller buildings, the windows and everything.
Okay.
Little red lights, blinking red lights across the city. As a player, when you come in and you see these giant structures, but also these little lights, it really shows, okay, this is a really big building. Try to put a lot of small details, small elements like street lights, containers, also a little bit of some pathways for vehicles to move around. That really helps to solidify the idea that this is a giant city, the giant facilities that are being built inside the city, and yeah, it's huge.
There's a lot of different viewpoints right now, so you'll be able to appreciate it from a lot of different distances.
Está mucho
and
más
viewpoints,
iluminada ahora,
even if
por lo
you're
que
far
veo.
away.
Es
Still
mucho
a
más
very,
bonita.
sí,
se ve
sí.
mucho más
bustling
atractiva la
city,
ciudad.
lots of activities happening. You can also see people taking the train, the transit to move around the city to, get from their habs to their workplace.
Mira.
The lighting on the transit line has been really, really improved. You'll have a lot more to see
Sí, se nota.
when you're going through these different lines, and I think it's going to be very exciting.
It's not just the lights in the city, but also in the industrial islands. Even though they're a bit further away, they have these giant, I call them cauldrons. It's like burning some sort of material. It's very orangey. It glows a lot. I think you can actually see them from outer space, lighting
Mira.
at night with those cauldrons. It's really amazing.
Súper industrial
looking.
hicieron.
Sí, sí, sí.
The atmosphere is really important as well. It gives like the depth that we need inside the city. It makes things like feel believable, and like it adds this layer of realism.
Lorville during the day is very, very polluted, obviously. So when you get into the city, there are very thick layer of clouds. And when you get through these clouds, it's like getting into a new world, in a different world. They cover the top of the building.
Será que le
very
pusieron
impressive.
nubes.
They just bring so much to the,
Sí, se ven
the
más.
atmosphere.
Bueno, si las ponen en esa calidad, se ven más
They
bonitas que las
really
que están
kind
ahorita.
of
Sí.
put that finish on the daylighting.
Sunlight doesn't actually always touch the ground. Everything's a little bit in the shade because of the smoke, the smog, the atmosphere. It's so
Creo que se pasara con el tema del smoke. Por eso.
Ah, está bien. Se supone que es
Bueno,
contaminado el planeta.
pero contaminado va a estar tu computadora cuando tenga a 5 FPS.
Ah.
Así que no recomiendo que aparezcan en
Pues a ver
Lorville,
cómo
gente,
va,
porque...
sí, mira cómo así como se ve. No, está loquísimo.
Ahora entro. Yo tengo la 319. Ahora entramos.
thick, you can't really see.
Ya está en el
Sí,
PTU?
into the
sí,
horizon,
ya está.
Sí,
how
también
many
está.
buildings is there.
Así que termina esto y entramos a verlo.
It's pretty claustrophobic, even though it's a giant city. But if you look really far away, you can't really see where it ends.
Está muy bien
because
hecho.
of the atmosphere.
Sí.
Chris did a great job on the day atmosphere, and it looks very, very unhealthy, I would say, to be there in that atmosphere for very long.
VFX did
Ahora entiendo todo. Cuando estábamos haciendo la historia que vos la estabas contando, por qué siempre la gente que iba a Lorville se dejaba el casco puesto. ¿Te acuerdas cómo me
Sí,
decía que
incluso-
por falta de oxígeno y todo? Ahora sí se ve esa industria, ese humo que no puedes respirar, boludo.
Sí, te digo que se supone que hay como cubos habitables. que me imagino que en este caso serán edificios, cosas así, que están completamente aislados de la atmósfera. O sea, tienen su propio sistema de oxígeno y todo eso.
Did a great job with especially the chimneys, the amounts of smoke that the industrial zones are creating. It really emphasizes the pollution aspect to how they do business in Houston. Lighting definitely with the new atmosphere looks really much different, and it really showcases the ominous feeling of the city.
The whole composition of the city works through with lighting just hand in hand. Without lighting, like everything looks a bit flat.
And so it's very important in that process to bring kind of the final look, to bring it alive from what the concept art originally kind of said about the location.
Muy bueno. La verdad, muy bueno.
Sí, se ve muy bien.
Ojalá que... Ojalá que esté bien, ¿cómo se diría? Renderizado bien, que optimizada.
The biggest change from the old Lorville to the new is the scale of those
Ese es el antiguo.
buildings, and they feel
Cambió
much
mucho,
more
boludo.
integrated, lifelike as a city.
Cambió
And
mucho.
That was one of the reasons at the beginning why we wanted to
Nah, mira.
to
No,
change
boludo, cambió
Lorville
mucho, boludo.
was to get like that proper scale throughout the city and that feel.
Mirá las nubes, todo.
Basically, it can
20
make
veces
you
mejor.
feel like it's a real city. Making the buildings at the correct scale can enable us later to create
Si
interiors
se ve
for those
así,
buildings.
igual menos a 30
And so in that
FPS.
sense,
Va
Lorville
hermoso.
would be ready for that.
Sí.
Getting close to the city, like especially
Ve, esto es lo que te decía,
flying,
mira.
like the feeling is just so great. We've lowered the restricted zone as much as we can, and we can really get close to the buildings now. The size of those windows are like true to real life size of windows. The
Claro,
scale of
boludo.
things.
¿Por qué me ponían
feels like really good.
la zona
Level
restringida?
design definitely also plays a role inside the city. We try to make sure that players, if they want to fly their ship around buildings or into some of these areas that we call trenches, level design reminded us to, keep some openings so that players can move around them easily. On our side, we also made sure that you can navigate in some of those structures,
Ahí está.
those trenches.
Y
You can do
correr
slaloms
también.
around those pipelines.
Claro.
And, maybe some of those areas could become potential racetracks for the future,
Lorville will have like racing opportunities.
Esto ya lo dijeron hace como 6 meses. Dice, it could be a puntation. No, ya lo dijeron, boludo. Que iba a ser así.
I think, because now there's like tunnels, there's cranes, there's sky bridges, there's like big straddle frames, and these can create target points for basically for racing.
Claro. Muy bueno.
Sí,
For
muy
me, the
bonito
greatest thing was seeing the team come together and pitch ideas,
Ah, mira, ya
and,
se ve desde afuera. El hospital.
deliver on those,
¿Sabes lo difícil que es hacer
those
esto?
challenges and those ideas.
La verdad, unos cracks,
It's
boludo.
been a lot of work from every
Sí.
department, and especially in lighting, I think it's been a big project that we've worked on. And there's so much details that's been put on every one of these areas, and I think I'll be really excited to see how people react to this. I think it's something that people have been expecting for a long time.
I think for the player, the fact that we can go around these areas, whether it's land vehicles or, we're using spaceships, fly around these structures, I think it's going to be a good experience, yeah.
I hope the players appreciate the new Lorville, just the sheer scale, and that it feels like you could see Lorville from Everest station, so it makes it like a big impact, I think.
Obvio,
And I
pa.
hope that the players notice.
Ahora vamos
So,
a
what
entrar.
did we learn this week? Well, we learned that a landing zone is more than just the three-dimensional geo that forms it. It's that confluence where narrative, level design, branding, lighting, and atmospheric artistry meet commerce, residence, and a foundation for future gameplay opportunities like racing, mission interiors, and more. And that this newest evolution of Lorville is scheduled to make its way to you in next month's Alpha 319.
No llega ante el tier 90.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for exploring the process of game development with us, and we'll see you all here next week.
¿Crees que si salga con el...?
Sí. Dice Mauro que sí, sale con el Invictus. A fin de mes.
Pues yo también, pues es que desde diciembre dijeron eso, que sale con Invictus la 319.
Sí, así que bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa. Bueno,
Esperemos.
gente, los dejamos por acá con Red. Estén atentos. Seguramente con Red en estos días vamos a hacer el podcast de la historia. ¿Qué se viene? ¿Microtech?
Yo creo que Microtech y Horizon a la vez.
Microtech
Muy poquito lo de Microtech.
y Horizon a la vez. Y si
Sí.
da tiempo, vamos a meter Nightels. Porque está todo junto ahí.
Sí, algo para conectar. Es que está, sí, es muy...
O lo dejamos para el próximo podcast. Así que bueno, gente, nos vemos. No se olviden de darle like al video. Suscríbanse, que también me ayudan un montón. Coméntenme qué les pareció. ¿Les gustó Lorville o no les gustó? ¿Ustedes creen que se le va a prender fuego a la computadora cuando entren en la ciudad? No sé, coméntenmelo acá abajo en el video. Nada. Recuerden que estamos en Twitch todos los días. De 10 de la mañana, Estados Unidos, a 2 de la tarde, por ahí. Creo que es 4 de la tarde, España, por ahí. Bueno, nada, acá abajo en el video les dejo el link de todo. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Red, nos vemos pronto.
Bye, 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 un gusto.
Nos vemos, gente. Chau, chau.